Deadlift day, baby. Let's get it. In jeans, too. Let's just get this shit going already. I've got 165 on the bar here. Just gonna kind of see what happens here. I'm not going for a max or anything. Just fucking deadlifting, man. Keeping shit simple today. Alright, that felt pretty good, low key. Alright, time to load this bitch up some more. So after healing my herniated disc, I'll be hitting a lot of lower back days. And this is not just deadlifts. I do a lot of different shit. And all of it hits the lower back, obviously. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a fucking lower back day. But I hit lower back at least 2 days a week for a lot of different reasons. One of them being just to keep it nice and bulletproof. And the other is that having a strong lower back applies to a lot more than you would think. People think it only translates directly to the squat and the deadlift. No, having a strong lower back actually helps with literally virtually every single upper body lift too. I noticed my bench strength fucking skyrocketing when I started hitting my lower back a lot. And obviously this all began when I started rehabbing my back injury because I was hitting lower back days literally 4 days a week. So obviously not as frequent anymore. It's not actually necessary because right now I'm back. But when I was really patching shit up at my peak, I would hit lower back 4 days a week. Basically just dropped fucking everything and just kind of went all in on my return. And evidently it worked out. See how this set goes right here? Right now we got, so fucking bad at math, bro. Holy shit. Plus 90, what is that? It's 245, bro. I'm stupid. Yeah, that was also just okay. Usually the jeans give me like plus 20 strength. Right now it's just fucking, the stat boost is not really activating. I don't know why. We're still going to push it though. My all-time max on deadlift was 415. I hit that in high school. That was my senior year of high school. That was 4 years ago. It took me 3 years to fix this shit. And now like highest I got was 345 like 2 months ago. And then I stopped trying to push it up as consistently. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it would come back a lot sooner, but it's taken effort. But at the same time, I'm being a lot less lenient with how I push deadlifts. Because back in the day, I would not give a fuck if my back rounded on an actual max attempt. And that is kind of the nature of it. If you're going for a genuine max attempt, your back will round and your form will break down. And if it doesn't, then it's not an actual max attempt and you're being a lot more conservative. So I personally say, fuck the max attempts. I want to be conservative. So if I'm going for a top single, call it a max, whatever, I'm not actually pushing what my body could churn out. Like when I hit 345, which is like my PR as of right now, which I really consider just like my post-injury deadlift PR. It's obviously 70 pounds less than the most I've ever done in my life. I probably could have gotten 355 up that day, but I said, you know, what the fuck is the point? When you're building momentum with this shit, you don't gotta rush it. That is literally how you get injured. I'm just a lot smarter now these days. I don't take this shit for granted because it was a fucking fight to get back here. So we're gonna do a top single here. They're probably gonna back off a bit. Really depends on how it feels. We're about to find out. This is why I preach auto regulation. I'm not following a program right now, so it doesn't really matter what weight I do. I'm just kind of in here to fucking bullshit around with the weights. Top single at 3 plates seems smart to me right now. Dude, that felt like shit. Fuck. So that's the highest I'm going. Yeah, that rep felt like ass, bro. Loki should have warmed up a bit more. Fuck you gonna do? Decided to switch over to RDL mode. Cut out the fucking middleman that is this cement floor right here. Do a little 3x10 or some shit. That feels so much better. That actually felt so much better. Doing higher reps like that and getting like the blood just flowing a little bit more just oils the machine, man. Low-key, if I hit a higher rep set like that before going for that single, it would have moved a lot better. But like I said, I'm just in here to get some work done, so it doesn't really matter. Came into the garage with zero expectations, except just kind of show you guys what a lower back day post-rehab with a patched up herniated disc actually looks like. Just kind of showcasing the shit I'm able to do now. 3 years, 6 months of actual rehab, 2.5 years really actually trying to figure out what was wrong with me. At first I thought it was just SI joint pain, but that's a story for another video. Feeling so much more mobile now. Fuck, that feels good. I've been loving RDLs so much recently. Like the muscle memory of them didn't actually click until a couple months ago. It was always kind of chilling in the back of my brain, but like after 3 years off, took a little bit for it to kick back in. The mental cues and how to actually get your form right. Forgot to use my lats for a second there. I was doing them one day, then it clicked. Draw it in. Literally rowing the bar to you, keeping it in contact, relearning how to actually fucking hinge again was a huge part because I could get away with squatting here and there in the 3 years I dealt with the back pain. Hinging was totally off the table. Couldn't hinge for shit. My hinge was so bad that to get back to what I'm doing right here, I had to literally post up on a wall and do fucking bodyweight hinges like this, building up to like 20 reps, then 30 reps, and 50 reps. Then I would grab a kettlebell, add weight, and then from there, I would work up, topping on the back extension, and then the reverse hyper. And then finally, somewhere along the way, I was able to get back to doing this shit. But it was a fucking process. You just gotta be really patient with it. You gotta be really patient. You gotta drop your ego a lot. I mean, one reason that it took me so long to actually fix my injury, besides not really knowing that I even had a herniated disc in the first place, right, as I mentioned, was not being able to drop my pride and trying to lift through it. Because going from being a guy who could deadlift 415, which at 175 body weight is a pretty respectable pull, to having really bad back pain trying to RDL like 135, to then realizing if I really want to fix this shit, I gotta do fucking bodyweight hinges on a wall. It's a blow to your ego, man. But unless you can actually get over that hump, you're never gonna fix this shit. Because you have to regress back to a level to where you can build from. If you have pain doing a back extension, then you can't start there. You have to regress even further. Regress back to an iso hold. If you don't have pain doing an iso hold, then that's where you're clear to build from. You're safe right there. That is your foundation. That is the acceptable foundation from where you can actually start climbing higher. And then reverse it. And then do back extension reps. And then hop on the reverse hyper. And then do deadlifts. You don't start at the deadlift and you don't start at the reverse hyper. It's kind of like a reverse pyramid. Deadlift is at the top. That's the lift you want to get back to. You slowly climb down the levels, reverse hyper, back extension, iso hold, wall hip hinge at the very bottom, which is where I started from. You climb all the way down and then find the movement you can tolerate, pain-free, and then you build up from there. Some people can start at the back extension, at the middle of the pyramid. Some people like me have to drop their ego and start with doing hip hinges on a wall. It depends on the person. Been yapping my ass off. Third and last set for the RDLs. Then we're going to move on. Whew. Actually, a miracle I finished that last set. My grip was giving out pretty bad. Ripped out the last two. Fingers barely fucking holding on. Got it up there, so shit's all good. So right now, I have a pretty nice lower back pump, but I've only trained it in a neutral position. My spine has been neutral the entire time. Obviously, deadlift and RDL, you're just hinging, so your spine, even though you're hinging from the hips, your spine is still neutral the entire time, ideally, unless your form is fucking shit. I haven't rounded my back yet, and today is a lower back day. Lower back day without rounding your spine is honestly, it's not a very good lower back day, is it? People are so scared that rounding their back is going to automatically herniate their disc, when in reality, when you train rounding your back, all it does is get you more prepared for that position. So God forbid your deadlift ends up going to shit and your spine does experience some degrees of flexion at the sticking point of your max effort deadlift single. Like if you're going for a true max, which we already talked about. Even though you try to keep your spine neutral on the way up, if it does experience some movement, which it typically does, your form will break down a bit during a true max effort deadlift, as I already fucking said. When you do shit like Jefferson curls, you're actually exposing your spine to that position, preparing it for when it gets there. The reason that people herniate their discs doing deadlifts is because their back isn't prepared for that subtle degree of rounding that it experiences when you're going for a really heavy lift. But when you expose your spine to that same movement, which I'm about to do right here with the Jefferson curl, you're not really as scared when your back actually does round during a heavy deadlift because you've been there before. Versus if you train your spine to be this one solid structure and you never round it, when it does round a bit, inevitably during a heavy deadlift, your body and your brain kind of go into oh shit mode. And that's when injuries and tweaks start to happen. So to rectify that, we will train our back in a rounded position and get a fucking gnarly pump while doing it. I'm not trying to go crazy on these today. Right now I'm doing 135. I had to spend a lot of time building up to this right here. I'm talking doing this shit with like a 15-pound kettlebell at first. It takes a while. If off the rip, you automatically load this bitch up to like north of 95 pounds without gradually progressing up to kind of meet yourself there, you're not doing yourself a favor. Rounding your back is good for you. It's how the spine is designed to move, but it is also the mechanism that causes most disc herniations. Let's call a spade, right? So if you work up to it slowly by adding like 5 pounds to Jefferson curl every 2 weeks over the span of a year, and you wind up at doing sets with 135, you're in the clear. You're gold. You're gonna be fine. If you're a cocky fuck and you go from 45 pounds to 85 pounds to 125, as if this is any other lift that you're just magically trying out for the first time and trying to kind of get good at, you might injure yourself. And that's not fear mongering, that's just being realistic. The spine isn't fragile, but that doesn't mean we treat it like shit. We're trying to get it stronger. To do that, we gotta be smart. The crazy shit comes later. So from here, for the first rep, going down slow, and I'm really unlocking my arms at the bottom and letting myself get into a deep stretch. Triceps are touching my shins. And from here, come back up. On the next rep, our back is warmed up to flexion now, so we can go a bit faster. Still very controlled. And kind of make it into one swift motion. Going for around 5 reps here. One more. And dropping the shit. So some people would argue that this isn't even a Jefferson curl, what I just did. It's more of like a Zercher stiff-legged deadlift. Because a Jefferson curl usually is more of a mobility drill where you're trying to curve every single vertebra in the spine, piece by piece, starting with cervical, then thoracic, then lumbar. You're supposed to go really slow and actually work on unfurling every single vertebra in your back, piece by piece, to build that mind muscle connection with your spine. But you notice how I'm just kind of going down, getting that stretch, come back up, not explosively, but with some force. It is more of a lower back muscle developer than it is a mobility drill. Really depends on your goals. If you're doing an actual segmented Jefferson curl, you're not doing this shit with 135 pounds. You're grabbing like a 15-pound kettlebell, turning on some fucking 532 alpha wave ass yoga music, and just kind of peacefully going down, yada, yada, yada. This is more of a lift right here that you would play some Metallica to, because we're bulletproofing here. We're not looking for mobility. Mobility is great. Mobility is very important, but that's not what I'm doing. And you can see here that I already have enough mobility to actually get the crooks of my elbows into this bar. To get here, it requires you to be in a very rounded position at the bottom. And the fact that I can do that pain-free means I already have decent enough mobility. And the way you get that is by practicing these movements, not by doing yoga. Y'all know the drill. All right, 2 sets there is plenty. Now we're pretty much good when it comes to barbell work. So we're gonna come over here. We're gonna hop on the reverse hyper. All right, now these are my bread and butter. In fact, I'm probably gonna make a whole entire separate video just outlining the benefits of this thing because there are just so fucking many. And the funny part is that in all the money I spent trying to fix my back, between physios, chiropractors, orthopedics, getting imaging done, buying equipment, this was the last thing I bought before returning to heavy lifting and considering my back fully healed. It is a fucking godsend for people who have back injuries. And the guy who built it, Louis Simmons, owner of Westside Barbell, he literally broke his L3 and was able to come back and set a world record in the squat with this movement right here, the reverse hyperextension. But the craziest thing about it is the way it tractions your spine or decompresses it. Because as you can see here, there's a pendulum. Right now my feet are strapped in this ankle strap. As I drive up with my glutes, on the way down, the weight is pulling my legs forward. So you can see my spine decompressing in the bottom phase. And when I drive back up with my glutes, I'm just driving blood flow into my discs. So you can understand how this would be amazing for someone looking to heal a bulging disc or herniated disc, which was me. But I still use this thing a shit ton. So you notice how in this workout, all 4 movements I did here, the first hyper will be the last one. They all worked my lower back, glutes and hamstrings, but all in a different fashion. The deadlift is strength off the floor, pulling a dead weight off the floor, which requires a lot of stress out of your lower back. In a good way, of course. Not all stress is bad. The RDL, on the other hand, it's similarly a hinge, but we're keeping that constant time under tension on our lower back as we're driving the weight up, which is a different stimulus from just doing one deadlift, dropping it, engaging your back again, another deadlift. The Jefferson curl, obviously very distinguishable from the RDL and the deadlift, is performed with a rounded spine, spinal flexion, which trains your back like fucking crazy. And you'll notice when you start doing them, actually gives you a much more wild lower back pump than anything you'll get from doing exercises that hit your lower back with a straight spine, like a hinge or a back extension, or even just a good morning. Everything else has to kick in when you round forward. As I said, it's not just your spinal erectors. There are a lot of muscles in your lower back that contribute to getting from here back up to here and then reversing that over and over. Whereas the reverse hyper, as I strap my ankles in to do another set right here, it's both flexion and extension. You want subtle movement really near your sacrum, L5S1, where my herniation is located. By allowing your spine to move subtly, that's how we're driving all that blood flow in. Segmenting as the weight comes forward, pulling your spine, and as we drive back up, engaging our glutes, drawing blood flow in, drawing synovial fluid into the discs, getting the work started on gunk things. I've already hyped this thing up so much, but it really is such a banger fucking machine, man. If you're like me and you have a herniated disc, even just a bulging disc, this will help your body perform its job of cleaning up the herniation site or the bulging site, meaning the fluid that is coming out of your annular fibrosis. There's new evidence coming forward that your body actually cleans up the fluid that leaks out of your disc. And the worse your disc injury is, the more likely your body is to start cleaning up that injury site faster and kind of do what they do in a microdiscectomy, which is shave off the fluid that's coming out of your disc. You genuinely do feel a bit taller. Decompression is really working on your spine, stretching it out. If you do a set of these with a weight heavy enough to really pull your ankles forward on the downswing of it, you will notice a stretch in your lumbar spine. And when you hop off it, you do feel a bit taller and your back feels great. All right, that's all she wrote. Hope you guys enjoyed a day in the life of me being able to hit a lower back day after coming back from herniated disc. Get a little glimpse of what I can get up to now. Consistency is the game when it comes to healing big injuries like this. It's a long-term problem, requires a long-term solution. You won't fix it overnight. If you make those small deposits every single day, after a month or two, you start seeing the progress. And that's what we're looking for. Take care, guys.